Today on the show, strategy plus action equals building your self-worth to grow your business. This show is powered by Black Ginger. If you'd like to shorten your sales cycle and build a foundation that makes all of your other sales and marketing initiatives better, reach out to us on LinkedIn. Our guest on the show today has trained over 1,500 clients over the course of 14 years. Every type of body, fitness goal, and competition type. Her specialty is creating high-intensity, fat-burning, muscle-building workouts for you. Whatever your goal, she creates a custom program to get you there. But what she does for her clients goes far beyond the physical. She understands how to get to the core of what has been holding you back and unlocking the change you've been searching for. Her company is Jaime Filer Fitness, and she's here to help us discover the link between health, your self-worth, and unlocking your power to build your business. Jaime Filer, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. And you?
Absolutely. So glad you're here.
We're definitely excited to have you on. You were introduced to us by another friend and previous guest as well, Bobby Stocks. And so that much appreciated. We know he is another hardworking entrepreneur like yourself, and so that even that introduction coming from him, we know your quality. You know,
I certainly try. I do.
Absolutely. So just now, meeting you the way we have and kind of digging in and being wowed, honestly, with your approach to everything, the site, your fitness company that you have. Give us a snapshot of that. Like, how does this? Because you aren't somebody who transitioned to online fitness and everything, in a panic during this year. That's been at the core of your business this whole time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I did not. There was no pivoting. There was no need for me to pivot. I love the idea of it. And I think it's so great that businesses have found another avenue in order to reach their market. But thankfully, I have been there all along.
I love it. And I know you said that you started the online portion of your business back in 2007.
Yes.
So you've really 13, 14 years since the beginning, you've been doing this. We've seen a lot, and I know I have a couple of friends in the space, but their businesses also expanded during COVID. Did you see the same thing?
Absolutely, because I was now getting the spillover from people who could no longer go to Crunch, LA Fitness, Anytime Fitness, and still wanted to get their workouts in. So I really got a lot of the diehards, but I also got people for whom isolation was becoming a bit of an issue. Not having that sense of community. Even if you don't talk to anybody at your gym, you're still surrounded by people, right? There's just that feeling of humanity around you. And when your gym is closed down and you can only go to the supermarket on Mondays and Thursdays, it's just very hard to get around people. So why not just pay someone to sit in front of you and talk to you and put you through a workout or give you something to implement and then check in on you later in the week?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, we go through, I wanted to really have this discussion with you around this connection that, the same reason, Bobby reached out to you, right? And probably so many of your clients reach out to you. They come with certain clients, certainly just like, hey, I'm fit. I've always been fit. I want to stay fit. There's those folks, but most people want to change.
I'm going to say 9 times out of 10. Now, there are people who specifically come to me because they say, I'd like to be more confident. I hate leaving the house because I don't have clothes that fit. I should be on The Biggest Loser, those kinds of people. But then I have people who say, I just want to be able to run a 10K. I want to be able to bench my body weight. But even out of those people, 100%, there is a reason they want to be strong. What happened to you as a child? Were you bullied? Mommy or daddy issues? And I don't say that in a joking way, like serious mommy or that were you neglected, that you are trying to create this bulletproof body so that nobody can hurt your heart. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I myself, that's one of the reasons I got into bodybuilding as well, because I wanted to be unfuckwithable. And if I at least look the part, they wouldn't be able to tell that I had zero self-esteem. They just wouldn't bother me in the first place. So whether you think you know why you're coming to me or not, I actually will figure out what the reason is that you've hired me specifically.
That's huge too. And even though it's a positive result, right? So even if somebody's coming to get fit as a self-defense mechanism, sure, there's, thank goodness it's that and not hiding away or anything else, but it's still something to get through. It's still something to get that why. It's not like, oh, you shouldn't be working out because you have these issues, but let's really get in there. What is that process, and how do you, because obviously you don't just sit there just like, oh, that's great, I see that you've got here's all your issues. How does that takes a lot of finesse.
It does, and you have to be sensitive to it. And I believe that there are essentially three types of coaches out there. There's the coach. So let's say the Bill Belichick, who is he's running your play, he's telling you what to do, you're going to implement it, and then you come back at a timeout and report back to him. Then you've got the Tom Brady, so he's your quarterback. He's telling you what to do, but he's also on the field with you. He's in it with you. He understands what you're going through because you're teammates. And then there's like the Giselle cheerleader on the sideline. And she's just nothing but love and support and rah all day. And so my coaching style is one of those three. I will get a sense after our initial phone consult and maybe the first 2 to 4 weeks for whether you need like a Bill, a Tom, or a Giselle on your team as part of your support network.
Wow. And you're able to step in there at any or all
the capacities. And it'll fluctuate. Maybe the first few weeks, they've got this really tough, rough exterior. So I match their, intensity with my Bill persona. But then we're 2 months in, they've lost all this weight, they feel good about themselves, and now they don't know what to do with their success. They legitimately don't know how to behave in this new body with all of these great things coming to them as a result of their newfound confidence. So now they need the Giselle. You're the best person ever. Look at what we've done. This is incredible. How do you not see what I see? So it's more like a continuum that shifts based on where they are.
Oh yeah, that's huge. I don't appreciate your analogy at all. The analogy is good. The references of this.
My wife is from Massachusetts. I had no choice. Okay, guys, I apologize. We don't have football in Canada, so I had to pick a team. I'm sorry.
That's right by default.
Yeah, exactly. I had to be a Pats nation.
You picked the wrong one, but that's okay. I mean, that's the analogy's there, and that's what's important.
Thank you.
And I love that. And what I've seen, especially over the confinement and COVID and the flood of businesses now having to move online. You've got an entire group, major portion of the industry trying to figure out, okay, now how do I do this online coaching thing? But what you'll often see is that there's different levels. And with your experience and that exactly what you just described, you can tell that's taken the last 12, 15 years to build. You've done the work. You've done you've been able to create these results with your clients. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons and the biggest things that people can see the difference between hiring a coach at your level versus just hiring, hey, I'm going to offer $50 a session online classes.
Right.
What other things seem to make you stand apart that are attracting people so much to you versus that next person?
Well, I think my number one, my USP, if you will, my unique selling proposition is that I'm accessible. All right. Especially in 2020, whether it's WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, email, or text message. When you use one of those modalities, you're going to get me on the other end. Because if it's okay to go back to the football analogy, when the team comes back in for the huddle, you don't want some guy named Derek who is just a customer service rep on Bill's behalf, answering your questions about the play. Like, it'd be really great if your coach was there answering your questions. And I think so many people, especially, when someone goes from only being able to coach, let's say, 8 people a day in a Crunch Fitness, and now they have access to the entire world, they're like, great, I'm going to take on 1,000 people. I can't take on, if you're taking on more than 50, you better have such solid, tight systems in place. And I guarantee you that if you don't, I am going to get your client. Your client is going to end up on my roster because people like being given attention.
I love it. I love it. That and that is so true. I my wife here has a trainer, and she's been able to be fairly personal in the communication, but there's certain aspects, as she has a large business, there's certain aspects where you can just tell. I'm like, oh, this is a VA. I'm talking to a VA. We know it. And it serves at a certain level, but what people want to pay for is your attention and your expertise. And that's what you're giving them. So that's absolutely incredible.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, even just knowing, even that security blanket, even if they don't use it, just knowing you're there.
And I come by it very honestly when I get on a sales call and I'm talking about my packages, that I am not, God's gift to personal training from a programming standpoint. I don't know anything that somebody else out there doesn't know. 4 years of kinesiology, but I graduated with 700 other people. There were enough people, right? But I say what differentiates me is who you're getting, not what I'm giving you. So I like to say that I put the personal back in personal training. The training part comes secondary.
So from a business perspective, then how does that scale? I mean, if you're locked in there, how have you found to continue to expand?
Great question. I created my first ebook early last year. So that was from both a financial standpoint for people, but also I don't necessarily have to engage. I said, you're more than welcome to tag me in things. You're still getting my programming if that's the only thing you want. And I would love to brag about you. And then maybe once you graduate those 16 weeks, we then start to work together on a personal level. But I also developed 3 different tiers of training my clients based on communication and customization. So at the ground level, I call it my silver plan. They get a 100% cookie cutter training program, but I come by it honestly. It is not customized, but that's also not what you're paying for. Yeah. You can communicate with me once a week via email, and that's kind of where our relationship ends. My wife actually gets on my case about this because I end up checking in with my silver people midweek only because I don't want them falling off. And she's like, are they paying for that? I'm like, anyway, bye.
But you can feel it. You feel that out in the, yeah.
Of course. And then at my gold level, we get unlimited communication via DM, email, and you get a customized program. So I cap how many people I take at that level, whereas with silver, it is very easy to manage. And then at my platinum level, it's unlimited communication, customized everything, 1 phone call a week with me, which I schedule in a 15-minute time slot with these people. So you cannot just call me up if you feel like it. You and I have an allotted time every Wednesday, 4:30 to 4:45 or whatever. And then also a Sunday morning empowerment call. I call it my Sunday sermon. And again, that's just for my top tier. So the scale was creating that level, even though I didn't want to, where we only communicate once a week via email.
I love it. Again, so the name of the show is Strategy in Action. How did you get to the point of even knowing how to do that, or where did that come from? I know it was hard because you can tell your heart and your energy and how you just love to serve people. And so I know for people like us, we resonate, and it's hard for us not to give away everything and just be 100%. And so we have to package these things and be 100% in the package and deliver on what we say. But, how did you get to that point?
I think it was twofold. The first one is just from a practical perspective. I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to touch as many lives as possible while still being able to put food on the table and a roof over my head for my family. You know, there was a period of 9 months when I applied for my green card where I wasn't allowed to work. And it was the most miserable thing in the world. So I just started giving out programs for free because I need to do this. If programming and communicating with people doesn't pour out of me daily, I have no purpose. So gave my stuff away for free.
Come on, Jaime.
I know. But listen, your government said, no, thank you, Canadian. But then it created demand because there were only so many times you were going to get a free program. And I said, guys, it's now a waiting list thing. Like you've gotten your little taste. And now I'm going to need you to actually shop from the menu once the green card goes through. So I created a silver package just as a strategy to have as much of an impact as possible while not affecting my time, because I do know that that's valuable, which is the second part. My business coach, one of his first and foremost lectures to me was on charging your worth. Not charging what the market will bear, not looking at comps and seeing what everyone else is doing. He said, Jaime, what are you worth per hour? What would you like to receive per hour? Break that down into how long it takes you to do the whole online thing and how long your check-ins take and how long it takes you to make the macros for people. And then put that into an hourly rate. And that's your monthly.
I love it.
Yeah, and there's an emotional and a practical component to it.
Oh yeah. And that's the perfect representation of exactly what we're talking about here, right? Your self-worth. It takes owning and knowing your self-worth and believing in it, in here, that core, in order to charge anything at first, and then more than others, and then what you want. You know, you go up those tiers, and that's what I've seen over, the last few years. That's where that correlation is. That's why, to me, I was just like, oh, this is what I want us to talk about and dig into, because it's so absolutely connected to this whole thing. I think that's so powerful. So give somebody a tangible, right? Like who's kind of come through and they came for this one thing, but you could tell, like, oh my gosh, they're holding back, they're hiding in there somewhere, and you unlock something for them.
So my number one, I guess you could call it the number one problem that people typically have, especially women, is emotional eating. But they don't know that it's an emotion. Hey, at night I binge eat. But is it night? Are you like a werewolf? Like, oh, the sun goes down. It's purely physiological. Or are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? I heard on a podcast a while ago, food is joy. We know this. If you come from a family of a particular ethnic culture, often food is just pretty much a representation of community and love, right? Like your mom doesn't think you love her if you don't eat her dinner.
Yeah.
Right? So if food is joy, then if you overeat, it tells me there is a lack of joy. But in what area? Is it romantic? Is it professional? Are you not getting anything out of your job? Is it just an overall, well-being, sense of purpose? Do you feel like you don't know your place in this world? Or do you not have a best friend that you can confide in, even though you really enjoy the company of your significant other? So it's not about, at 8 p.m. like Jasmine binges. It's why is Jasmine angry, lonely, or tired at 8 p.m.? What is the connection there? So I've had a lot of clients come through that we eventually break down what it is in their head that's making them feel incomplete, in order to get them, I feel like if you guys have seen Tony Robbins' documentary, I'm Not Your Guru, people divorce, like they divorce their significant others because Tony Robbins said this isn't serving you. So somehow I can't even remember, well, I'm obviously not going to say, but I've had people leave their significant others because it is so toxic and they just keep filling themselves with food because and I said, do you understand that you're hurting yourself now in two different ways? You're staying in this unhappy relationship, but simultaneously you binge nonstop. You are not at a healthy, like forget the aesthetic part. You're not at a healthy body fat percentage.
Right.
There is now a ton of fat surrounding your visceral organs, all because you ate your wife. There's an easy fix. And I hate to be the person to say it. I don't pretend to be a counselor or a therapist. I just have to say, hey, why are we binge eating? Is it this problem?
You hold up that mirror. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's in both of those directions, the eating and a toxic relationship, what's so tough is that they're both incremental. It's not like you wake up and you're in this thing like, how did I get, like it's overnight. You're like, well, of course I'm going to stop both of these things. Well, no, it's a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And then it takes someone from the outside to go, let me just show you this. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's so powerful. And that's a unique skill set though, your USP, of course, but it's also because that's who you are at your core. If you're not helping and training and going through, I think you would feel handcuffed and locked if you had to just train somebody. Do these many reps of this exercise. And you'd be doing yourself and everyone else a disservice, I think.
Here's one of the reasons I got into personal training online. And the way my system works isn't that like the way we're having a conversation now, and this is an hour of my time. I give you a program for you to implement on your own. Now, when I go to Crunch across the street and I see trainers working with their clients, I'm going to say maybe 60% of that 1 hour is spent training. Maybe 20% is spent resting because you need it. So there's this empty space, and then 20% is just talking. So I want to cut out the middleman, go do your training on your own, but please come to me for the talking part, because now I have all this time, right? I've just condensed it so that all you and I have to do is talk. You spend however long you need training, but come back to me for the therapy part, which is all they do, in the session anyway. So that's the part I love. Anyone can do the training, but come back to me for the talking.
That's huge. And I just thank you for being your authentic self and literally just doing the work to even arrive to this point, to be whole enough to offer almost, it's a solution. I mean, it really is offer this solution to people because we need it. Everybody. I mean, there's something in everyone, whether it doesn't matter how it shows up or manifests itself on the outside, but we all have that thing that we're holding on to. And so it's up to us to attack it. But often we need help from Jaimes in order to even get the light bulb to go off. Yeah. We all believe in coaching, business coaches, personal training, everything. But I've personally seen the most growth in my life by working with people like you, because you can see it. You're doing this. You live for this. This is your purpose. This is your passion, and we've been able to luckily get, we keep hitting home runs with our guests like you, because you guys have, again, done the work and you can see it. And so these conversations keep coming up about how, at your level, you're actually able to help people tap into these root causes of what's really afflicting them. And so it's just huge. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for calling me a home run. That is super flattering. Super flattering.
But that's big because, entrepreneurs out there, especially anybody in life, number one, but entrepreneurs who day in and day out have to control their own schedule, create something from nothing. Mm-hmm. Either if they haven't tackled that self-worth side of things, if they're ashamed of themselves in any kind of area they don't even know, and then it manifests physically, so they're ashamed of themselves in that, and they, snowballs. Even if they get their business up and going and because we've seen those folks, right? We've seen them like power through in one area of their life and still create that. Then they sit there with a monetary success going,
I'm broke.
And then right. And it's a really downhill slide when they thought that was the goal and that would do it. And then it doesn't.
So it's interesting. I read a very good book that had a chapter on the difference between achievement and success. And I think that is exactly what you're describing. Too many entrepreneurs, they see that 6-figure, that 7-figure mark as the success, but that's an achievement. The success is then being able to buy an entire house in cash. Okay, that's successful, that you put a roof over your family's home and that your wife has to pay for absolutely nothing but her student debt, which is outrageous because you work so hard. This is successful, right? So I don't work for the money. I obviously do not, I don't want a yacht, but if my wife next year says, hey, can we go to Croatia Yacht Week because our trip to Israel got canceled this year, I want to be able to say, absolutely, tell me the boat. Okay, that's the difference between success and achievement. Achievement is just like mark after mark of what you think each goal needs to be, but success is how you feel about yourself once you've gotten there. And too many entrepreneurs think that achievement is success.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how does somebody sitting out there who doesn't, they haven't done the self work, they don't know right now. They're just sitting there. They have no idea the root cause of it. They just have this issue. How do they perk up and go, oh, maybe that's me. I need to reach out to Jaime. Like, are there certain things that maybe after hearing this interview, they go, that could be me. I've just never taken the time to know. Are there certain markers that they could do on their own and go like, oh, wow, yes. Wait, that is me. Let me reach out to Jaime.
Sure. So I've got 2 answers to that. The first one is, the question you need to ask yourself is, why do you think you deserve this? Now, it's whatever it is you're in right now. If you're in a super shitty relationship that is toxic, or you're at a job you hate, or you hate being an entrepreneur, why do you think you deserve that? Why do you think you have to sit in your own misery? Like, I've done 12 bodybuilding shows and I've won 2. It's been not successful for me, but I've worked so freaking hard. But my coach has always said, the judges don't say, okay, ladies, raise your hand if you tried really hard for this one. Hey, nobody cares about the effort part. So you have to think about why internally you think you deserve to be in a poor marriage and in a job you don't like, or unhappy with the money you've made as an entrepreneur. So what is it that makes you think that you deserve suffering? And then the other concept is, so this will take some work, guys. If you're listening, do this right now, okay? There are going to be 3 bubbles. I want you to put 3 bubbles on a piece of paper. One is going to be called your self-image, and that's what you think of yourself. The other is going to be called self-concept, and that's what others think of you. And then the other one is the self-ideal, and that's everything you want to be. And look at the difference between those first 2 bubbles and the third bubble, or the second bubble, the third bubble, and what you think of yourself. And look at the incongruence. Why don't you see yourself the way other people see you? All the compliments you get from other people that you never give yourself. Why would that be the case? And also, why is your self-image so much higher than your self-concept? What aren't you fulfilling from an Abraham Maslow self-actualization point of view that you don't think you deserve to be your self-ideal and that you're stuck at your self-image?
Yeah, that's big. Because the farther away how you feel about yourself is from that ideal image.
Yeah. So they say that self-esteem is defined as self-ideal minus self-image. It's an equation. So if your self-esteem is down here, it's probably because there is more incongruence between who you are and who you want to be. Why is that?
Yeah, because you've created it. You've attracted all of this into your life at some level. Yeah. That's
I
huge.
love it.
Yeah.
Man, this and that's it's so crazy just thinking about the noise, and I'm like super in tune to what I'm consuming and the people I'm even communicating with, because I think, it's almost like the world and traditional media and all of this stuff is against us to have, the opportunity to realize some of these things. But then there's angels like you that are out there preaching this daily, and you've done a great job of just building up an audience and inspiring people. I followed you or checked out your Instagram, 84,000 followers. So you've got people that are actually able to access you and see these posts, almost 2,000 posts on your Instagram. I did my research, and you're committed to this. And, one of the things we've seen with people like yourself that have been able to have a large impact and been able to attract a lot of clients and change a lot of lives is the importance of content. So for you and for your business, and you're almost 100% online, how important is that content in getting across these messages and being able to share this with the world as we're fighting the influence of the Facebook and Instagram algorithm,
I mean, honestly, that the answer would be very different coming from my business coach and coming from me. I get hit almost weekly from him. Why don't you have any call to actions? Why do none of your posts end with comment below or DM me? And I'm like, oh my God, Matt, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I just wanted to let people know that having anxiety is okay, and here are my ways to overcome it. But so it's all about establishing a relationship with someone. Like, if you want to give me your business, super great. Happy to take it. I want to change your life. But what's more important is that you take what I have to say and change your own life. Because as we discussed, bringing everything full circle, fitness is just my particular vehicle to get that self-concept and self-ideal on the same plane. Now, if you don't want to purchase the fitness, totally fine. But at least pay attention to what I say every single day. So how important is it? It's everything, Johnathan. It's my entire platform.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it.
And Matt's right too.
I know. My CPA is 0 out of 10. Yeah.
And I it's just because we're givers. It's that mindset. It takes us doing that work to say, okay, hey, I need to be able to offer this to someone. But what changed it for me was one of my coaches literally said, Johnathan, think about it this way. You are not providing someone the opportunity for you to help them change every time you don't ask them to engage with you. Because it's true. And as we are building content and developing content and pushing this stuff out, it's that same challenge for us. Hey, you're going to hear this amazing message. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of advice, and we're going to share our guests and their advice with you. And you're going to get really excited about this. You're going to realize, Jamie knows exactly what she's talking about. And this is going to resonate with you, and you'll feel it here. But at the end, you do need that one little, hey, reach out to us, reach out to Jaime, get in contact, let me help you. And then so that one thing that's my next step. That is the action item, know, and for the people that are ready. So I love it.
Because, it really is, it's another hang up, right? That people have oftentimes who are givers and do want to just give. They're going to win over time more than the takers.
Absolutely.
But there's this feeling that it's one or the other, right? That those asking for the business is, mutually exclusive to giving value. And we just believe in the opposite, right? They go like this together beautifully when done the right way. So I love it. How can people reach out to you now that we're going to make you a call to action here? Let's get people to contact you.
So JaimeFiler.com, JaimeFiler.com, or Instagram is at JAIM91, and I do respond to all of my DMs.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You never know whose life you're going to change in there, that's all.
That's so true. That is absolutely true.
Yep.
Well, Jaime, just, our hot question. So if you are giving advice to other people in your industry and you've built a very successful business, and if you guys were paying attention, that case study was about you, where you were talking about you bought the house in cash and your wife is extremely happy and that level of achievement and success. So I don't want to just zoom past that. You've done it. And there's people that are paying attention to this episode and paying attention to you. What is some advice, some strategy, and then the action behind that strategy that you can give people in the space that can kind of propel them to start serving at a higher level?
Take the focus away from the money and put it on impact, and everyone will take notice. Once you shift your own paradigm to, I have to serve 1,000 people. In 2021, I have to get 1,000 clients. Those 1,000 clients will come to you and then they'll pay what you're charging, but that's not the point. The point is I have to impact 1,000 lives next year. That is my mission. That's my vision. That's all I can see myself doing. And then if I look back over my KPIs, Q1, Q2, the money will probably be in my bank account, but that was not the overarching goal. The overarching goal was to fill my schedule with 1,000 clients.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on the show. Everybody out there in strategy action land, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
See y'all.
Thanks for listening. You've learned what's working on the front lines of business. Now it's time to get to work. Apply to the Strategy and Action group on Facebook to learn more and for a chance to connect with the guests on this show. Join us next time for Strategy and Action.